You're listening to The Best of Perry Gauthier, where we remember our friend and leader who was taken from us in this life in December of 2020. It is our hope that his memory lives on in the hundreds and thousands of people who he touched both in and outside of capitals in this country and around the world. We will be sharing interviews that Perry did for radio and television throughout the following weeks. Perry was always prepared to share the good news of Christ and God's love for politicians and people serving in the political realm. On today's episode, we're glimpsing back at the interview Perry did with Joshua Phillip of the Epoch Times discussing tyranny and rebellion. And in this part, they talk about the difference between a constitutional republic and a democracy. One can swell and pop, the other, you select your best to represent you, as Perry will give you a crash course in right now.
I like to say that we're a constitutional republic with a democratic feel. And what I mean by that is the people are involved. But really, in the best definition of a republic comes from res publica, the thing of the people. So when the people are represented well, they're involved. But pure democracy is not a good system. They always explode. They swell and pop because they grow out of control with greed and a lack of control and a lack of wise thinking leadership. That's why in republics, there's representative government and you elect your best. We're sending our best to DC. Here we sit in DC where the 535 and, the best judges, the Supreme Court and, the best, the president, et cetera. When all the voting and decisions are made, the best come here. The best what? Representatives. So that is the best form of government and governed by law. So a constitutional republic. A constitution is a broad law of most important principles, and that is mediated through representatives and a governmental system that respects that. And so that, of course, is the best system of law.
And so what you're saying is that, in your opinion, of course,
yes, sir,
that this is the most just system because from a biblical or religious standpoint, the purpose of a politician is to serve the people, to be representative of the people. And the constitutional republic being the idea that one most closely connected with that, where the people are most closely engaged. Is that accurate?
Yes, it sure is. It sure is. Republicanism as a form of government finds its roots actually in the Hebrew scripture, where God tells Moses to divide this swarming nation of Israelites, having come from Egypt, headed to the promised land. How are you going to govern this group? There was 12 tribes in Israel, and so he says, among these 12 tribes, break it down. Leaders of tens and fifties and hundreds and thousands. So there's this pyramidal system of representation. So among themselves, they would pick the head, and they would have this pyramidal system of power. And so that Republican feel represented, because not everybody can talk to Moses, right? In the biblical account, he's worn out, and his father-in-law Jethro reproves him. He says, you can't do this all alone. You need to delegate it out. So that has its roots even as old as 4,000 years ago. And then, of course, the law of God, God himself rules his universe through his law, through his perfect word. And so governments, too, are best ruled by true principled law. And so you combine those, you get a constitutional republic, and those are both very biblical concepts. And other world religions have these same concepts, but coming from a standpoint of a Christian minister, I see roots to both of these in the scriptures.
As Perry would say, we sure do appreciate you. And we do. We're thankful for the ability to bring Perry's wisdom to you even after his death. And we have more of the Epic Time interview to share, so stay tuned on Wednesdays on the Capitol Minute with the best of Perry Gauthier.